Yo, how's it going? It's been a while since I've done any videos about reviews of movies or comic books or anything of that nature. Mainly because I've just been focusing on me, hitting the gym, trying to take care of my finances, trying to, study and go to school. That doesn't mean I don't keep a finger on the trends or on the pulse of what's going on in terms of mainstream media. In particular with me, since I spent practically over 20 years of my life, maybe more, being a comic book fan, or in the comic book fandom, in the comic book space. I'm not gonna stay here and tell you my whole introduction to how I got into comic books. That's not what this video is about. It's not really a self-reflecting video. More, it's about the current state of things, whether YouTube or whatever, and politics and everything that I try to keep up. I don't try to comment. I try to stay in my lane. And forgive me, I'm not looking like my pretty self. I got a popped pimple on my forehead, got some chapped lips, so I'm not my usual handsome self, but let's not discuss that. Let's focus on the topic at hand. So I do try to stay on relatively on what's going on. And I know that there's a lot of politics about everything that's going on, about women's rights, about Joe Biden, and whether you like him as a president or not. And also, stuff about diversity in movies and TV shows, Lord of the Rings, prequel, whatever that is, didn't do so well. And there's a drop off of the Thor, Love and Thunder. And then a whole stuff about, Lightyear and what that entails. And if you're keeping up, there's a lot of baggage between Florida Governor DeSantis and Disney, and their workers of being pro-LGBT and putting that type of content into the entertainment. And other people feel like, no, that should not be the case, that just keep your personal stuff out of it. So I don't know. I'm not here to weigh in terms of whether I think it's appropriate or not. I'm a father. I'm a father to a teenage daughter. I do the best I can my way. One thing I do consider myself an artist. I didn't go to school and try to imitate comic book artists because I wanted to not be an artist. I would say I'm all right. I'm a mediocre artist, but I'm not one that's consistently putting out. So I can't say I'm on that same level where I deserve to be in the comic book space. I've gone to Sketchy Bugs many times, and I did a few things here and there, but I've never materialized into a consistent worker. So I can't say, well, that should have been me. No, if you don't put in the work, how can that be me, If I don't put in the work myself, how can that be? How can I see success if I'm not putting in enough work? Now, I did go back in 2017 with aspirations to be an illustrator and an animator. But being my age, being that I have a lot of responsibilities, if I was a single man, non-married, didn't have as many bills to pay, nor a dependent, it would be an easier way to focus on that, and I won't say be a starving artist, but it would be easier for me to make sacrifices because the only thing responsible is me and myself, and I don't need to worry about medical stuff and all this. But COVID came around and the government shut down what I legit lost my job, and they called me back, so props to them for that. But put things in perspective, that life is short. So I think I made the right call by pivoting away from being an illustrator and animator into art history, because I still love art, but there's so much stuff that I wanted to know, and stuff about indigenous art and cultural art, more of Latino art and stuff like that. And I learned about a lot of stuff that they never teach you in history class here in the United States. So unless you go to college. Now, I don't want to make this video too long on college education. That's another topic for another day. I mean, I can tell certain professors have certain agendas besides what's on there. And I don't mean agenda like on today's agenda, no, there are certain, I can tell they have certain positions and others they don't. Mainly college is still supposed to be a place of, debate and open ideas, healthy discussions. And so far in my experience, it has been that way. But I've had a few professors where I could see the string one way or the other. So in one spectrum, you're a Democrat or you're pro-LGBT or you're pro Blue Lives Matter or Donald Trump or a supporter of Republican. I have had both spectrums. And one thing I appreciate myself is the ability to think analytically and be a human filter. And I would fucking sit there, even if I don't like it, watch CNN News, Fox News, MSNBC. I will see people who are on this side of the spectrum and that side of the spectrum. I would hear both sides because there's always two sides to every story. Doesn't mean that I agree with one side more than the other, no. I voted mostly Democrat my entire life, but there are certain times where I'm like, why did I vote for you if you're not doing things, You're not doing things where I hope that you said that you would do. And I'm going to hold the people I vote for accountable. I'm not going to give them a free pass. People get amnesia sometimes. People seem to forget that for the 2 times that I voted for Obama, and I love the man, I respect the man. He is the deporter-in-chief. He's deported more people under his term than even Donald Trump or the presidents before him. Now, to his credit, he's not disrespecting people or whatever, disrespecting a certain race, but let's call it what it is. He's been doing that. Also, he's bombed kids and killed people too, in drone strikes. It isn't just Donald Trump. And it's unfortunate. It is what it is. You can Google search that, get the details. But let's not sugarcoat one man's sins and then blame it. You gotta hold everyone accountable. That's always been my position. So, anyways, how does this all tie into comic books and stuff? Well, my whole thing is, and forgive me if you hear background music. I am at work, so bear with me. I'm trying to make sure you hear me. But all this ties in to the simple fact that I've seen, as a young man especially from high school, I won't say that it was bad to be a nerd, but it was one that you wouldn't openly show a lot of people unless people trust. So I had like Spider-Man posters in my locker and shit, but only certain people knew that. If other people saw it, oh, you fucking geek, you nerd, you this, that. But that was all right because I knew it was like punk rock. It was, you either have to hold your ground or have thick skin and be like, fuck it, I love what I love. Judge me how you want. Now, because it's uber popular and everyone from their newborns to their grandmas know who Captain America is, and who the fuck Moon Knight is, or who whatever, the Suicide Squad from DC, like they know. And for me, it'd be like, you should be happy, right? This is what you wanted. In a way, I did want people to know about this stuff and enjoy comic books the way I did. I mean, I don't want to be no gatekeeper, because that's, at the end of the day, we want that. But at the same time, I got older. In my younger days, I spent a lot of times on these Facebook chat boards or messaging or whatever, like arguing semantics and stuff that I don't own the IPs to these characters. Like, I don't. And I don't know why. In my youth, I used to say, like, I would be hardcore defending of Batman this, Batman that, or X-Men this or that, or the political stance of how Stan Lee wrote stories. Even at the end of the day, it doesn't really fucking matter because I don't own any of these IPs. So I don't know why I spent so much time being so invested on fictional characters. that at the end of the day, a company like DC or Marvel will do what they want to do. Fuck my loyalty. I mean, they want my money. Let's be real. They want your money. They want you to keep supporting them and buying them and buying the products. And, if I like what I like, I'm going to buy it. I think the baddest thing I've seen in a long time is the whole Batman metal or DC metal stuff, and it just resonated with me a lot because I love heavy metal and I like the look and the little alternate universe that came out of that. And Scott Snyder's work and Grey Capullo, I dig it, especially, and then I also like the classics with Alex Ross and some other, artists. I've always been a Todd McFarlane fan, so I was happy that Todd McFarlane got the DC rights to make figurines and stuff like that. So I'm happy with that. I'm always going to be a hardcore Todd McFarlane fan, no matter what. From his own company or his deals with DC or whatever. Having said that, though, I don't know if it's maturity. I don't know if it's because times are hard and I've become somewhat of an eBay flipper trying to get by because I don't make enough as it is. But I've seen that people are hungry for content. People are hungry for collectibles. Even in this messed up economy, one piece of advice that I need for you to understand. If you have investments in stocks, investments in bonds and stuff like that, that's good. But you're going to have to make a decision to either write it out, and truth be told, you will not suffer any losses unless you sell or pull out. If you still have faith in the company, I will bank on it and write it out. Matter of fact, buy more because the stock is low. But if you're scared and you have lots of money invested and you want and pull out. Now, in the collectibles market, it's not the stock market. The collectibles market is, I won't say it's bulletproof, but it survives on its own, detached from that. And I've started to realize that. I sold comic books to big ballers. It surprised me. To comics that, I seen them sell for a little bit low, and I sold them over to big ballers, man, like people who have money. And I'm like, whoa, are we struggling or what's up? Now, I don't know. Maybe these are people who are engineers and something else. And it put things in perspective. Like, not everyone suffers equally. It's just as in COVID situation, not everyone suffers equally. We can work from home, but who has that luxury? Not me. I never was one to have that luxury. I was always a blue-collar worker most of my life. So that's the reason why I went back to school. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like maybe pivoting to art history probably wasn't the best thing. Maybe I should have been an engineer or something. But my love for art is there. I cannot not ignore that part of me, so I decided to do art history. And there's a lot of knowledge there, a lot of stuff that I could talk to you about Picasso, and I could talk to you about Francisco Goya. I could talk to you about Japanese printing, block printing and stuff like that, and how that inspires anime and in today's manga or whatever, or Japanese scrolls, which was like the early version of animation. So I can extrapolate that information and compare it to how it's relevant today. So I love art history. I'm not gonna lie. That being said, I do keep a post on what's going on, and this collectible market thing is helping me a little bit. I'm not making bank. I'm still struggling, but the collectibles market, if you got stuff that you're pondering, should I sell? Should I not? Should I hang out even more? Everything is cyclical. So, we just passed Moon Knight, but I have a couple of variant covers. I had no idea that they were gonna not grade it, not CGC or anything like that. They tripled in value. I bought for like $15, $20. Now they're over $100, $120. Variants, not his first appearance, not nothing. This is like the 2006 or 7 run of David Finch. I mean, they've tripled him. I'm like, what? Not even the Overstreet Price Guide can predict how this stuff. I mean, the Overstreet Price Guide is good source for information, but even then, everything is subjective. So always do your research. So what is the point of this video? Well, one, if you're thinking about selling any collectibles, now's the time to do it, especially if you're struggling and you need a little bit of money. And then I'm selling collectibles that, for one, I had a problem of hoarding. I need to admit that. And a lot of money, wasted money, especially on like graphic tees. I have a bunch of graphic tees that I only wore a couple of times to Comic-Con or this, that, and they just sit there, or action figures that about multiples or different, this and that and that, and then it added up, and now they're just sitting in storage. And I don't believe Toy Story is real. I don't think the figures come alive when I leave, but I do feel like they're meant to be displayed. They're meant to be enjoyed. And if I can't enjoy it, I don't feel right having them in storage. But being a hoarder it doesn't do anything for me, It just takes up space, and that's money I can get back in some form. So collectibles right now is hard. Now you have to price, and you have to be honest. Is the paint missing? Is your comic book bent? Don't try to cheat the customer. They know what's up, okay? And the collectibles market is not political, okay? It won't take sides. You don't know who your customer is, if they're Republican, Democrat, racist, or pro-life, or anti-life. You won't know. I mean, especially if you're selling an offer up, eBay, whatever. It's a quick transaction, okay? And don't limit yourself to your customer base just for your ideals. If you need to make money, you need to make money. Okay, everyone here I think that's one thing I needed to address, that people have become so, they're gonna draw lines in the sand and die in the hills when they know that they need to survive. And by that, you gotta do what you gotta do to get by, bro. I ain't gonna judge anyone. I know that the masking mandate's coming back. I hate it, to be quite honest, but I'm going to wear it if it's a requirement. I'm not going to be, I don't want to wear it. I'm going to wear it if it's a requirement. I hate it, really, especially when I go to the gym. But the other thing is, the comic book community needs to, stop drawing lines sometimes. I follow this guy, Young Rippaverse. He's very controversial for some people. He's a libertarian, but I listen to all voices, not just him. I listen to others as well. But he's usually, when he says something, he puts his mind to it. And I've seen this multiple times in the comic book community. I would say it's kind of disingenuous to say that he's the first black guy to do it. I mean, we know Milestone Comics has, Milestone. I know a couple of great creators in the indie scene doing what they do. So it's not like he's the first one. However, he's been perfecting his brand, YouTube, his presence. He's on Blaze, he's on other stuff. And all of that culminates to what he pitched for his comic book ideas. Like, right, whether you agree with the man or you don't, that's not the subject of conversation here. I'm not here to say, oh, agree with him, he's right, or disagree with him. I'm not here to get into all that shit, okay? I'm just telling you. He launched a successful campaign. This isn't a Kickstarter even. He's just him and people that follow him, people that support him. And now Fox News covered an article, or wrote an article about him, and now he's one of successful independent black label comic book creators. And kudos. I mean, I'm not gonna knock a man for making fucking money anyway he sees fit. Yeah, I used to be a musician, now he's a YouTuber, now this. But there's another guy who also, I forgot, it's not the top of my head, but he went to Mark Cuban and another guy in Shark Tank, got $500,000 to launch his own black-owned company, comic book company, and I think that's great too. But he got a little, I don't know I'm not going to speculate, but, there was a little back and forth. Well, mainly him, not Young Ripper, but him calling out Young Ripper, how is it that your fan base is like racist or this, that, and the other, and then you make all this money, but I'm trying to do this. Honestly, this is something I experienced in my own life. Like, we used to say, brown pride, la raza, vamos a hacer para la raza. But when I worked in blue collar jobs, not all jobs are equal, so different races, but I've had Latino managers, Mexican, Ecuadorian, wherever they're from, or whatever ethnicity, their grandparents, or they might be American, but they have Latin blood in them. We're Latinos, we're la raza. But when it's their own, they fucking stomp on you and put you down more. I don't know what it is. Classism, colorism, because you're not Mexican enough, you don't speak, you don't listen to bandas y corridos, so you're not a real Mexican, you were born in America, whatever the fuck, I don't know. But that's an illusion, to be quite honest. So this whole video, that guy was knocking Young Ripper, and it's nothing new. I've seen it in money industries. You call out other people, but then you want to see success. But I'm like, you know what? If you really want to bring each other up, then bring each other up. But if you're going to knock each other down, then you're just repeating the cycle. Success, it's a two-way street. Build bridges, don't burn them down. Like, you don't have to agree with the guy or woman or whatever they identify as. You don't always have to agree with them. But if you can work with them and make something great with them, I wouldn't burn that bridge. I will build it, cultivate it. This thing what Young Ripper did, he has over $2 million back in his project. And kudos to the man. Like I said, I'm keeping tabs on what's going on in the comic book space. All right? Where it goes from here, he says, hold him accountable. If his art is shit, if his story's crap, hold him accountable. Tell him, be honest. He's been very blunt about him, and I'm sure he wants that back. Now, being honest and blunt is different from being disrespectful and trolling. All right, that's not what I'm saying. But I had too many people drawing lines in the sand. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life. But if you're wondering, where the fuck is my voice? Or here it is. I'm just working on me. Don't think that I don't pay attention. I do. But hope that you guys don't make assumptions about, he's on the standby, so he's on the sidelines, so he must be associating with this, or he must be associating. No one gets to tell me that. No one gets to I've been labeled all my fucking life between family and friends and this and that. Oh, he's too hard of hearing, or he's not deaf. Or he's too indigenous looking, or too dark skinned, or he's too light skinned. That's from family, man. He's too this, that. No one's gonna put fucking labels on me, amen? All right, so no, you don't get to do that to me. This video kind of turned into a rant, but it wasn't supposed to be. It's supposed to be about, I'm here. I'm not gone. Times have changed. My focus, my priorities have changed. But I still have the same interests. But I'm trying to share some knowledge with you guys on how to, you got collectibles to sell, now's the time to sell. If you're into stock, you have to make that decision for yourself. But you only lose if you sell. Okay? And then if we're going to be honest about let's let's bring the brotherhood up, then let's do it. Otherwise, you're just tearing each other down. That's not what it's about. All right, guys. Laters.